The promise was of a cyber boot camp, teaching people how to code in a short amount of time for those coveted jobs that are in the coding business, in computer, in technology. Codeup went under, though. It is no longer a part of the city of San Antonio's business landscape, and it was part of the city's Ready to Work program. Mayor Ron Nirenberg joins us now. Mayor, your reaction to Codeup starting the new year, announcing that they are not coming back, that they're not going to continue.
Sure. Well, I don't know all the specific details about the causes for Codeup closing doors, but I will say that obviously when you have a program like this that's training people, we want to make sure that the folks who are in that program in the middle of it have an opportunity to get to complete their training elsewhere. And so as it relates to Ready to Work, I do not believe that they were receiving any direct funding under the Ready to Work umbrella. But suffice it to say, we work with a number of different partners with regard to curriculum and training. And so I've already seen that the Alamo Colleges District, for instance, is offering that training program to fill in the rest of their program at another institution. So the good news for the Ready to Work program specifically, and again, I don't think there was any direct relationship with Codeup. The good news with all the programming related to Ready to Work is that the funding isn't expended until people actually go through the pipeline. So this isn't funding that's given up front. It's actually worked out, contracted with those programming providers for the purposes of getting people through training. So if people don't go through the training, those dollars aren't expended.
So we understand that there were 18 students within Ready to Work that were part of the Codeup program. Not a huge number, but it certainly means a lot, this closure, to those 18 that are now scrambling to try to find out what comes next. The city has really made a push to try to develop those coding jobs, those tech jobs, and keep people in that field here in San Antonio. Do you feel like, from what you know about the closure, is this sort of a one-off, or is it a larger issue within that budding industry here?
Well, those who have been observing the last year of technology industry jobs, it's been a quite tumultuous year for tech jobs generally. In fact, there's major impacts in cities like Austin that have a larger share of those tech positions. But good news is that San Antonio's landscape in technology has changed quite a bit. And so there are a lot of different programming providers. Many of them continue to operate in response to the demand in technology. So like I said, there's a push to get those folks into other training programs. I would imagine that folks who are training to be in the technology field, whether that's coding or something else, are going to have plenty of opportunities going forward. But technology as an industry has seen these ups and downs, a little bit more volatility than some of the other industries that are a larger share of the San Antonio economy, like manufacturing and healthcare. But technology jobs are here to stay. And so technology training will also be here to stay with regard to our workforce development pipeline.
Yeah, and you pointed out that the Alamo colleges are stepping up and offering their own programs for people that are already in place to help out. Also, Geekdom is offering free membership for 6 to 8 months for people that want to take advantage of the Geekdom opportunities.
Yeah, and let me be clear. So the Alamo Colleges is one of our major partners with the Ready to Work program, like Project Quest and a couple of others. To the extent that there was training going on at Codeup, those would be through subcontracts. But again, those students will have opportunities elsewhere, and we'll make sure that folks who enter the pipeline are able to complete the pipeline as those funds are expended.
I want to change gears now and ask you about the very sudden retirement of San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood. That news came last week after we learned that he apparently was part of an investigation related to comments he made demeaning towards women, vulgar in nature. Your reaction to that? This is our first opportunity to talk with you here on this segment about that turn of events.
It's disappointing. We know that there have been a few prior incidents, and I support the city manager's decision, which was done swiftly and I think justifiably in concert with Chief Hood. So Again, all city employees, regardless of gender, race, and anything else, should be treated with respect. And we have a high standard for behavior in the workplace. So when those things are violated, we have to take them seriously. So I think the city manager acted appropriately, and I support him in that.
Is it possible to separate what happened with the comments and the retirement and what Chief Hood has done for the San Antonio Fire Department, or is it too soon for that to be talking about legacies?
Look, I think that Chief Hood's professional service to the city had tremendous impact on the city, tremendous positive impact in the city. There are incidents and there are situations that call for action when you violate the administrative protocols and the expectations of professionals at the city. Those are two facts, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Someone can have a positive impact, but also unfortunately have to end their tenure because of violations of professional conduct standards. So those two things are true. It doesn't take away from the fact that we have one of the best fire departments in the country. It is disappointing. It's unfortunately not the way we would like to see a career like that end. But we're going to all take steps forward and again, try to have what we think is one of the elite fire departments in the country.
I want to also ask you about District 10 Councilman Mark White before we go. Councilman arrested just after Christmas on suspicion of DWI. Is the City Council expected to discuss whether Councilman White could face any kind of reprimand as far as the council goes for that?
Yeah, and I've read and I've seen that there's a lot of curiosity about what's different between this and prior incidents we've had. City Council is just back from its winter recess. We haven't met in several weeks. So we are meeting in a council session tomorrow, an executive session to discuss this incident. There's some facts available to us, the ones that have already been reported on. There is a toxicology report that hasn't yet come back. In fact, it takes several weeks for those to be reported. So there are things we know, there are things we don't know, but the council at the very least will convene in a closed executive session to discuss the situation and potentially any action that might be taken. Obviously, we expect public officials, elected officials to live up to the highest of standards. We have to hold ourselves to account because we are representatives of the public. And so this is behavior that I think if you ask Councilman White, should not happen and should not be condoned. And so we will have to act accordingly. But we also want to make sure that we act with all the facts that we can have available. So, I expect that conversation to begin tomorrow.
Before we let you go, on a lighter note, just want to let you know that there are rumors that the Spurs are going to be playing in Paris next year. So there'll probably be rumors that they're moving to Paris. So I just wanted to brace you for that. And also I wanted to tell you that the Nirenberg's looking good.
Thank you. I think Paris is playing in San Antonio now for a while, I hope.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The Spurs aren't leaving San Antonio.
I knew we would not get through this
Yeah.
segment without working Nirenberg in.
Yeah.
Count it.
It's expected.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.